So we're here in Saint-Jean-de-Luz, where they land some of the loveliest fish in France. This is in the southwest, very, very close to the Pyrenees Mountains. And this is a very ancient harbour. It's still a harbour. You can see from all the nets and over here. And there's a man right over there repairing his nets there. And all these little fishing boats. They're all real fishermen doing a good day's work. And that's what brought that beautiful pair of Hake in. If you look at all of these houses, they're all now owned by, well, the very, very wealthy. They're all celebrities, pop singers, film stars. And the place, although it's now out of season, is still full of tourists. And we'll have a little look going further inland, just up to here. You can actually see all of the houses are built with towers where they would see the ships coming back. And if somebody built a building in front of you, you raised your tower higher. So you'll see that there are quite a lot of these towers on the buildings, and that is one of the, well, there are several of these bells that they used to ring in times when it was dangerous. So we're going to have a look at some of the little fishing restaurants, because if you come here, you eat fish. And it's beautiful white fish that is found here. And if you look behind, you can actually see the mountains. That is one of the hills that we will be going up to take some more footage. It's mid-afternoon. Had we come in the morning, this would have been full of activity. The problem with coming and doing filming then is that you're in everybody's way. And as you can see, it's very, very clearly different architecture. It's got a Spanish influence, it's extremely Basque, and it's got touches of French. The colour, this beautiful bull's blood red, is because it used to be painted with bull's blood to protect it. This is literally the other side of the tiny village from the fishing port. It's the sea defences at the moment blocked out there by what looks like a cruise ship of some sort, is constantly restored every year because it's quite a violent sea. Before that was put in and these sea defences didn't exist, literally it would just come in the winter and knock down all the houses, which were mainly made of wood, and then they would rebuild them. Not really a way to live. The military came in and fortified it, and that stabilized it and was the precursor to the beautiful place it is today. So you've got this incredible architecture, but it's ever so small. It ends there, and that over there is no longer it. We've moved on. It's the tiniest of little places, which is why it's so expensive to live here. But it is unique and it's rather beautiful. and we were very privileged to get the fish from here. And this is the little road straight off from the beach down to the square, and it's just full of fish restaurants. It's the middle of the afternoon, so you won't really get to eat at this moment in time. This is a building worth looking at, with its tower as well, its lookout tower. Once it became rich, people waited for their boats to come back, bringing in cargoes, and they needed to see them. And of course, this is the original house of the person who was sent to come and sort all this swampland out, make it habitable, and set the building project in. And he installed his wife in this magnificent house. People say he either had a very good or a very bad relationship with her, which is why he built this wonderful place to live, because this rose up. None of this other stuff was here. It was just sand and mud. It now contains a museum, and it looks like there's a queue for the museum. No, we won't. Here's a picture of what it would have looked like after they built a few of the buildings. Well, these are the Hake, or Merluchon, and what I've done, I'm now going to marinate them before cooking them. So as you can see, I've taken 2 of the chili and 1 for each one, and I have sliced it, de-seeded it, and just poked it in there with some pieces of the garlic. And this little leaf, I put a little bit of a leaf in, as you can see. And this is more of the same leaf. Now, this is lemongrass, and I'm just damaging it, basically bruising it, twisting it. And then I'm just going to wind it around the outside and rub some olive oil over it. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but I have got some on the inside as well. Now, tuck that under there. And this one. And they're going to sit there for about 5 hours marinating. And I've still got to put some olive oil over them. Then when I cook them, they will be on a bed of peppers and red onions. And they will be baked in the oven for about 15 minutes. No more, because they don't need any more. They're quite small. And these should be absolutely delightful. Well, I'm now going to marinate them, and I'll do that in the fridge, obviously, because they are fish, they'll go off. And I will cover them with some cling film. And that's it. That's all I'm doing to the fish. If you wanted, you could have added some salt crystals or some pepper or lemon and garlic. But I just thought we'd go a little bit Asiatic today. these are the fish. They've been marinating and they're ready to be cooked. So I'm going to put a layer of oil on the bottom because I don't want anything sticking. And then what I have are these wonderful vegetables. I'm particularly fond of these. These are organic lemons. I've taken as many seeds as I can find out of them, and we will be roasting them. This is 2 green peppers and 2 red peppers. And the lemons for flavour. This is garlic. Believe it or not, this is just 1 clove, but it is 1.5 cloves. It's probably the size of a clove like that, small onion size. And this is 2 red peppers. Onions. 2 red onions. Oh wow. Yeah, 2 red onions. So all of those are our vegetable mixture. And the idea is that we roast these. Literally, just roast them. And we're going to roast them for 25 minutes. And we will then top them with the fish and pop them in the oven for another 15. So in total it will have had 40 minutes. But I'm not putting these in immediately because I want to prepare my potatoes dish, and that takes 40 minutes. So I put them both in together and I'll add the fish 15 minutes before the end. And they, as you can see, they've been allowed to warm up. Straight out of the fridge wouldn't have been a good idea, but they have just warmed. So I'm just mixing these a little bit more. You've got the garlic and you've got the vegetable. I haven't done anything very strong because I've got quite a strong flavour in here, and that's, well, it's not that strong. I don't want anything to overwhelm my fish because I've been looking forward to these fish. Right. I just want to make certain that my lemons have a little bit of olive oil on the top, and I'm putting 1 in each corner. Now that dish is ready. Now I'm going to take my potatoes, which have been washed and dried. And don't they look wonderful? So they're properly dried, okay? When this, I forgot to mention, when I put these in, I'll just scatter those over the top because I just want them to soften and desiccate a bit. I don't want them to be a little slithery thing. Right, now this is a lemon, okay? It's another one of those wonderful organic lemons at this time of year we can get. I want the zest of these, so it's a zest plus olive oil, and I want the zest of this, and I'm going to put it in at the bottom. We're saving the juice of this lemon to just squeeze over the fish at the end. So nothing is wasted in this dish. It's really nice. And the reason I put this in now is because once I've cut my potatoes up, they will go brown. So I want everything ready. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the oil, and then I'll start the slicing process. And I'll show you the sort of size that I'm looking for. I don't want the end one. Just pieces. Okay, nothing complicated, but pretty even. And again, I don't want that little bit there. And then I'm just going to keep adding them into this mixture here. And I also am going to add just a few grains of sea salt. Here's the sea salt. I mean, it's hardly any grains at all, but that's what I'm going to be adding. I did not grind it up because I want it in some places and not others. So I'm just going to chop all these up. I'm going to add some pepper. That's quite a generous amount of pepper. And this is rosemary, and literally it's fresh out of the garden. In fact, if you were to put it into water, it might root. And I'm just going to pick a few pieces off it. And this will give it a sort of Italian feel. That's probably enough potatoes for us. And you can do that, but I'd want it to be very fine. There. Now I'm going to mix everything together and lay it out carefully. There you are. So everything is covered in little bits of herb, little bits of oil, and there. And we have a hot oven of 175. I'm putting these on the top, and I'm putting the vegetable base along the bottom. And we come back after 25 minutes. Right, it's had its extra 15 minutes, and I'm really looking forward to this. There are your crispy golden potatoes, all smelling of lemon and rosemary. Yes, and here are your beautiful fish. And how you know if something is cooked, I'll just demonstrate. You go to the thickest part, you put your fork in and you pull it open, and it just flakes off like that. Just look at that meat. Isn't that beautiful? And this is Hake, Merluchon in France, highly sought after, and we're lucky enough to be very close to Saint-Jean-de-Luz. Crispy, golden and delicious, and all this flavoured oil everywhere. Now we will eat the potatoes, but I will save the oil, put it in a little pot, and we will have it with crispy bread tomorrow.